Before that, I would like to start this webinar with a prayer. I will lead this prayer in a Christian way. Let us pray. Dear God in heaven, thank you for all your blessing today so we can start this webinar. Please, please bless our Please bless our speakers, moderators, and all the participants so we can share and gain our knowledge through this seminar. And may all the event from may all the event from this seminar will be a success. Thank you, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen. Next, I would like to invite Sir Alan Dharma Saputra as our moderator today. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Vanessa, for your introduction, as well as good morning to those enthusiastic participants on this webinar, as well as for those of you who watch this live on YouTube. Welcome to this webinar. Right, so as I'm aware, the participants of this webinar are mostly from high school students as well as some university students who are currently preparing themselves for their future career, right? Wondering what arsenals you need to equip yourself to be a future ready accountant. So look no further, because today in this webinar, we have invited not just one or two, but three experienced speakers to share their knowledge and story on how to be a professional accountant. All right, so without further ado, I am going to invite our first speakers for today's webinar. She starts her career with ACCA as an accountant and an auditor. Also, she has worked with various multinational companies, including Big Four and multinational banks. And currently, she is the owner of Gut a Thing, working as a career and leadership coach that empowers corporate professionals to enhance their professional skills. Therefore, I would like to invite Ms. Mei Fing Lim to join us in this webinar.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Hi, selamat pagi, bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, saudara-saudari sekalian. Hi, everyone. My name is Mei Ping. I want to take this opportunity to thank Petra Christian University for the kind invite today and Pak Alan for moderating as well. So let me get to the slides very quickly. All right. So thank you everyone for joining the session today. So a very quick note is that as I go along the session, should you have any questions at all, please feel free to put it in the chat box, and when we have Q&A time later, then I will get to it also. All right. So thank you so much for spending your morning with me, and very enthusiastic and very motivated to learn how you can become a future-ready accountant. So as introduced by Pak Alan earlier, my name is Mei Ping. I am a qualified accountant, ACCA qualified accountant since year 2008. So yes, that was a long time ago. And since then, I started my career at Ernst & Young as an auditor, later on moved to Visa, a global multinational company, and later on with Standard Chartered Bank. So in the next slide, I'll share a little bit more about my professional career. Nowadays, I am a career and leadership coach helping young professionals to grow their careers online and offline. So I'm also an industry mentor with one of the biggest universities in Singapore, which is the Nanyang Technology University, that produces 60% of Singapore's accountants every year. So that was a very quick introduction about myself. What is more interesting that I do want to share with you is really the power of being an ACCA chartered accountant personally for myself. So in 2008, 2009, I graduated, joined an audit firm to increase my skill set and also gain exposure working in various industries, providing assurance services. So that gradually opened doors for me to transition into a payments company that is Visa, that I'm sure most of you know. In fact, nowadays with the rise of fintech, the payments world is really becoming more and more to the forefront. So I was an internal auditor with Visa, where I traveled across Asia. I was also in San Francisco for secondments, and so forth. So really opening up various opportunities, not just working with the local market, but also at the regional level as well as the global level. And later on, you may think that, oh, as an accountant, can I really work at a bank? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. So gradually, I moved on to Standard Chartered Bank, where I was eventually the senior director and head of governance for the financial institutions as well as the fintech portfolio. Hold on. I realized that I'm not in the slides. All right, so this should be clearer now. And gradually I moved, as I mentioned, I moved on to Standard Chartered Bank, where I was spearheading a lot of industry initiatives, such as coming up with new management reporting, how we can better deal with regulators, and really establishing new governance frameworks for Standard Chartered Bank at the global level, where I was based in Singapore. So what I'm also very excited to share with you is really my experience and the skill sets that I have noticed and observed from working with stakeholders, teams, and projects in 43 countries. So these skills that I will be sharing with you later on are really things that not just is relevant for you, but very, very relevant if you're ambitious, enthusiastic, you want to grow your career very, very highly. And this is something that is worth developing right now. And I'll share with you a little bit more on how you can start developing those skills that will prepare you for the future. Moving on to the next one. So as Paala mentioned earlier, nowadays, I see my role as creating future leaders because I do mostly work with a lot of young professionals, fresh graduates and students as well through various channels that I'm doing. So that was a very quick introduction of myself. So more important for you, how can I become a future-ready accountant? So there'll be 3 things that we'll be looking at today. Number 1, the 5 career zones where accountants can add value in the future workplace. Right? So how relevant is accountancy as a career in the 2020s? The second one, the top human skills essential to navigate complexity in the digital era. And the third one, how to utilize the power of your personality to thrive as an accountant in the future. Right? So these are the 3 things. And as of this point, if you want to grab a piece of paper, a notebook, and a pen to take some quick notes that will be helpful for you later on, feel free to do so right now. Okay, moving on very quickly. So as we all know, technology is a major force transforming the future of work and workplaces. So if we think of ourselves personally, how do we use technology and how has that impacted our lives now and from 5 years earlier on? I can hear a bit of noise, but appreciate if everyone can mute so that we can have a more conducive session. All right, so as I said, if you think about yourself, how has technology shifted and the way you use technology as well, be it mobile apps, right? Various platforms and softwares. So this is really the same for the future of businesses and the future of workplace. So even traditional business nowadays, they need to really start thinking of like how technology does really impact their business and start adapting also. So as a result of business adapting, what that means is that careers will also continue to evolve as technology blurs the work divide between humans and machines. So most commonly asked question at this point is that, what does it mean for me, right? If I choose to become an accountant, what does it mean for my career? So that's always a very good question. And it's very important that we get some clarity up front as we move, as you provide a lot of help as we move on in our career later. So after working with people across 43 countries over my past 11, 12 years of my corporate career, I've concluded that there is a greater need to focus on human skills to work alongside technology. So in the past, when I was at Standard Chartered Bank, I was running a portfolio that was very innovative. Basically, what we did was to design the framework that they will be rolled out to Standard Chartered Bank globally across a $4 billion portfolio, $4 billion US dollars. So what I've learned is that there is always a place for qualified professionals in the future workplace. Because at the end of the day, what is technology? Technology is just a tool. However, who do you think is using that technology and really leveraging that technology to produce reports, produce results, and produce the outcomes that we want? That is us. That is us, the qualified professionals, the qualified accountant, the qualified banker, and so forth, right? So the key word you want to note here is alongside. How can you work with technology and actually use these tools, use these softwares to allow you to deliver more value and not seeing that as a competition. So there is a need to adapt so that we can actually learn how to use technology to make our work, the quality of our work better. So what's most important for us, right, as the qualified professional who has to go into this digital era is the interpersonal, social, and emotional skills which computers don't have. So that's with us, and that's how a good qualification such as ACCA personally has helped me a lot, right? Giving me a lot of perspective that I'm able to really identify, really have a lot more strategic thinking and view to see how I can really drive change in organizations. All right, moving on to the next slide. Because ultimately, you know what? Technology cannot replace human judgment. So there will always be need for accountants. There will always be need for specialists, and there will always be need for professionals. But how we can then secure and make sure that we have more career success down the road as an accountant is to continue leveling up our human skills so that we'll always progress alongside technology and never overtaken. Never overtaken. I think that's really a very important perspective to have, because the concern that a lot of people have right now is, if there's a lot of artificial intelligence, automation, so what does it mean for my career, right? So hopefully this one provides a little bit of perspective. And therefore, this is an opportunity for accountants to continue to add value to the future of work. So keyword here again is add value, because if you're doing something that the technology can do, then are you really adding value? But there are various avenues that we can continue to add value as accountants, and I'll also be going through some of the key areas that you can develop your career as an accountant and also navigate across later on. So moving on to the first bit that we talked about. So the future accountant, your career. So what does that actually mean for you? What are the 5 key career zones that came up? So in the past couple of months, ACCA Global did a survey and they did a bit more research to identify what does the future accountant look like in the 2020s. So that's from 2020, maybe 10 years down the road, right? So if you're a student, right, it's time to really think far in your career, what you can do and what are the opportunities available. So based on the research, there are basically 5 career zones that were identified. So 5 things: assurance advocate, business transformer, data navigator, digital playmaker, and sustainability trailblazer. So I explain a little bit more what that actually means. So the first one, assurance advocate. So I'm sure that a lot of students, once they graduate, from their ACCA qualification, becoming an ACCA affiliate, one of their biggest goals and something to feel really proud of is to join Big Four. So coming from Ernst & Young, that is something that I continue to feel really proud of. Whether it's Big Four or one of the bigger or regional audit firms, there are various opportunities for you to develop skills to help build a sustainable organization. For example, joining an audit team, being in risk or in compliance, all these functions serve to enable the organization to move forward in a more effective way, making sure that we cover all the bases. So this is definitely a good start. And personally for me, I started as an auditor as well, and that gave me a lot of perspective, a lot of exposure, even within the first 3 to 4 years of my career.
Develop our skill to stay.
So any questions, I'll answer it later. So please feel free to put it in the chat box, and later Pak Alan will moderate as well. So no worries about that. You'll have time for questions. So as I said, for assurance, it's actually a very good area to start with. And I would say that in the 3 years that I started being an auditor, gave me a lot of perspective. And I'm very sure a lot of other professionals may not always have. But I think that's a privilege that, us being accountants do have that privilege of starting out in audit and equipping ourselves with all the skills that we need. So the next one is business transformer. So this is for you guys who are very passionate about change, strategy, always wanting to innovate things. So how can we then as accountants help the business move forward every 5 years, 10 years and continue to grow by having, being a key stakeholder in strategy discussions, proposing innovations, and working together with the business. So this is for the guys who may eventually join the Big Four or other consultancy companies such as McKinsey and so forth, really involved in the transformation process. So the third one is data navigator. So what is data navigator? So nowadays, we hear a lot of people saying that as accountants, we need to be business partners. So what does that mean? So that means that as accountants, we cannot look to only do our numbers and then hope that everything will be okay. So how we can continue to add value is really support the business and support decision making through data analytics, right? So one of the really popular areas for for accountants to work in is financial planning and analysis, because accountants, when even with the ACCA qualification, does provide you with modules where you can then sharpen your analytical skills. And that is something that for business stakeholders, they really value that a lot. So coming from a more data-driven analytical perspective to allow for a more holistic decision-making process. The fourth one is a digital playmaker. So in the days of fintech nowadays, where we are very comfortable with new methods and softwares, these digital playmakers in the company also play a very important role. So they are people who are very passionate about technology, the latest rising trends, and how these technologies and tools and data can be incorporated in the company so that the company can grow faster. So as accountants, there's also a role that we can play within the finance department or the investment department in proposing tools that will allow the business to become more efficient as well as more effective. And lastly, what I call the sustainability trailblazer. So a big part of what I did at Standard Chartered Bank was the sustainability trailblazer, because as you all know, Standard Chartered Bank was fined almost $1 billion in lapses in framework. So my key role was to establish frameworks and reporting to make sure that there is an end-to-end accountability. So these are areas that may not sound very, may not be the first areas you think of for accountants, but definitely what I'm trying to share here is that there is areas for you to gradually transition. So even though you may choose to start in one career zone first, there's really no problem to try to transition to other areas later on. Because you have the qualification. So what you need to do is continue to develop the skills to allow yourself more opportunities down the road. All right, so for more details on this report, there is a link to the ACCA Global website that I'm happy to share with you later on. The next one. So nowadays, what do? Really helping future accountants to develop top skills. So what I have here is really a list. This is the first 6 of the 12 skills. And a very common question I get asked is, how did you decide on the 12 skills, right? What went on your mind? That's really from 11, 12 years of corporate experience, working with people from 43 countries. Personally, for work, for business, I've traveled to more than 25 countries. For myself, I've traveled to 37 countries and more. And based on what I have noticed, observed professionally or personally, it really boils down to these 12 top skills that you need to develop. So it gives you a fighting chance and allows you to thrive over and above maybe your peers or other people as well. So the ACCA qualification is a very good baseline for you to start your career, but you need to make sure that continuous professional development is something really critical. So aside from the modules that are provided by ACCA and so forth, there are also things that you can start developing right now, even as students right now. So it gives you a better chance in getting yourself opportunities down the road. So the first 6 skills that you see here basically comes down to relationship management. So how are you dealing with other people? How are you supporting one another and really communicating in interacting with people? So there's this one quote I like to tell a lot of my clients and a lot of our students that I work with. There are really only 2 things that you need to learn how to resolve: people and problems. Because sometimes problems also come from people. So the ability to work with people, to understand people, and also understand yourself is really, really critical. So what I'm going to do here, I hope that you still have your pen, paper, and notebook with you. So what I'm going to do right now is to go through every single skill, but I will only ask you one question. And this question is really important for you to really think about it and then put in some short notes, because it will help you identify if you actually have some problems and some gaps in this area that you might want to look at after this webinar. Because most people, when you ask them, do you have a skill gap? We are unable to see our own skill gap because there is always a blind spot. So this quick session is to help you identify what you need to work on and what you can continuously enhance so that when you are ready to join the workforce as an accountant, you are ready, equipped, and ready to shine. So let's start with the first skill, the art of communication. Most people don't think that they have an issue with communication, but communication, easily said, is expressing yourself in a way the other person can understand. So the one question I will ask you here is, when you talk to someone else, do you constantly hear this phrase, I don't understand, can you say that again? That is a really, really important phrase. Because if you tend to hear this a lot when you're talking to people, that means that they don't understand what you're trying to tell them, meaning the communication is not two-way, hence it is ineffective. So you may find that it does affect your ability to do things and to deliver, even in projects and presentations and so forth, because you have this little gap. So remember, that was that one question. Second skill, the power of deep listening. Because in nowadays very busy and noisy world, we tend to get bombarded with a lot of things. Like we tend to talk a lot, we want to share a lot, but we don't always listen. So listening is a very, very powerful skill, because in a very dynamic workplace, the more you listen, the more information that you get that will help you do a better job, right? Better delivery, or be it a presentation for your lecturer and so forth. So again, one question. The one question is, think about the latest conversation that you had, be it a friend or maybe it's with your lecturer. And really think about that conversation. And then I want you to ask yourself right now, in that conversation, was it a 50-50 discussion, 50-50 chat, or you were doing most of the talking? Because if you're doing most of the talking, that means that you may have an issue with listening. Because if you're constantly bombarding someone else with what you say, then how much are you really listening? It does also affect the relationship that you have with the person, especially at work. Okay, so moving on to the next one, the third one, which is spotlight on emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? It is the ability to recognize emotions in yourself and emotions in others, right? Most of the time, we are not very aware of these things. But again, the one question to ask you is that, how often do you find yourself talking to someone else, again, be it a friend, a family, or your professor, and they started looking very annoyed or frustrated, and maybe they will tell you, oh, I'm not in a good mood right now. Can you please come back later? So that could be a gap in your emotional intelligence, because you failed to identify that they were not in the right mood to have a certain conversation with you. This is also very important in the workplace, or even in projects as well, and even when you deal with your lecturers, because when you catch them at the wrong time and you're unable to identify the emotions that's going on, it doesn't help the relationship, and eventually you may be seen as a person that is a bit tactless. So that's not a label that we want to have, because as accountants, we are professionals, we are ready to help, ready to add value. So the lower part that you see here, leadership starts with managing yourself, managing your boss's expectation. If you don't have a boss right now, maybe it's a team leader, maybe it's your lecturer, maybe it's your professor. And the last bit is creating win-win relationships. Because at the end of the day, these three things really boil down to one question. Do you deliver what you promise to do? Really think about it, this question. Do you do what you promise to do? Because over the years, I've worked with many, many people, even from managing director onwards, CEO of businesses. And one thing that they always share with me that they found very frustrating working with the team is the team doesn't deliver what was promised. So if you have this attitude, or you have this kind of perspective that, it's okay, it's okay, I have more time, I'll deal with it later and so forth, this is the right time to catch yourself and say that no, because this is not a good quality that you want to have as a reputable professional. Because working with very, very senior people, and even myself as a senior director, when I work with more junior team members, these are some things that I expect to be delivered. But when something is not delivered, it does impact the way that we run the processes or business. And of course, also impacts your performance and reputation, right? So these three, I would say that only one question cover it all. Whether are you doing, did you deliver what you promised to deliver? Did you do what you said that you are going to do, right? Okay, so I hope that as of this point, you are still taking notes, just putting in some quick jottings on what might be helpful to you. Maybe you want to look at it a little bit later on to help your own professional development and getting ready to become a future accountant. The next one. So the next 6 here are basically skill sets that you need to look at developing in yourself, because clear and critical thinking, art of decision making, creativity, adaptation, organization, time management, these are all very critical skills to allow you to do your job and really perform to your best level possible. Because in a dynamic workplace, right, there isn't sometimes a lot of time for us to go back and forth, because it's very disruptive. So by developing critical thinking, right, developing decision making, really able to come to a conclusion does help your colleagues, your team members, or your bosses to better understand how they can help you provide the support that you will need in your job as well. So creativity and adaptability, there's really only one question. So are you a person that is very rigid and always saying that, okay, it has to be this way, and you don't like any changes? Because if you're this kind of person, it is going to be very challenging for you to adapt in a future workplace, because in the digital era and with technology constantly evolving, there will be changes maybe every 6 months, every 9 months, 12 months, and even further on. So you may feel that there is a constant change that is going on that might feel very uncomfortable to you. So the faster you can identify what are your levels of comfort in terms of these skills and how you can develop to make yourself more adaptable, the faster you find yourself being able to prepare yourself, right, to become a more effective future accountant. So that's it for the 6. If you need more information later on, I do have way more details on my website, on my podcast. But as of this point, I just want you guys to really have a think about it initially, if there are any such challenges, so that you can actually look to improve your learning later on. Okay, so this was the really, really important part. So hopefully you guys have taken some notes that you'll be able to take away after this webinar. So the next part is really the last part, which is the personality bit of future accountants. That's something that I'm really passionate about. Because at the end of the day, how you are wired, it does impact how you behave and may impact your future success, right? So there are basically 4 kinds of personality that is really worthwhile for you to identify which one you are on or which one you are more towards, so that it can then help you also to make certain decisions and identify skill set that you may find it a bit challenging, right? So first category, extrovert, introvert. So extrovert is a person that is a very energetic and fast talker. So just by knowing this in yourself, guess which skill that you may be lacking is listening skills, right? Listening skills. Because if you're talking, then are you listening? That's really an important question to ask. So if you're an introvert, meaning you're a person that's a bit more quiet, you need more time to process, really think about things, maybe communication might be an issue, because you may end up doing your own work and you don't communicate to other people to say, hey, this is what I've done and this is how I can add value to you, right? So that's how you can use your power of personality to identify the skill sets that you may naturally not be so good at, and then identify those so that you can develop first. And you may even use such personality tests and so forth to identify which of the 5 career zones that may be more relevant or more interest for you. So I'll give you another example. So intuitive is a person that is very big picture. They like strategy, direction, future, very future based. And sensor is a person that's more focused on the details. So they are very into making sure that everything is done correctly and precise and so forth. So if we go back to the career zones, if you're a big picture thinker, maybe you might be more interested in roles that allow you to be a business transformer, thinking about strategy and so forth. However, if you're a more sensor kind of person, you may be more interested to be a data navigator, whereby you are dealing with data, analytics, and details. So this is how you can actually use it to then look into the various career zones that may align better with your natural personality and really able to thrive. So moving on to the next part of personality, which is whether you're a thinker or a feeler. So a thinker is a person that's way more logical. So what they may not be good at is maybe emotional intelligence, because they're so logical that sometimes when someone gets a bit frustrated or stressed out, they may not be able to identify that. So that's the skill area that you may want to enhance. And if you're a feeler, whereby you're more emotive, like to share stories and so forth, you may find leadership a bit challenging. So for those of you guys who have opportunities to become a project manager, project leader, and so forth, you may find it a bit challenging because you will feel maybe a bit bad telling people, oh, they have to do this and so forth, right? So the last part of personality is judging, which is the person that always has an action plan. When you go to him or her for a project, they will tell you all the 10 things that needs to be done, when it needs to be done, why it needs to be done, and so forth. So the challenge, if you are an action plan person, maybe it's adaptability, because in the future workplace, and even as a future accountant, adaptability and creativity, these are two really, really key skills that we need to constantly have in our pocket.
Dalam bentuk pilkan, jangan lupa ada 50 soal, 75 menit.
Yeah, okay. So just a quick one so I can move on to any potential Q&A later. So last thing, if you're a perceptive, meaning that you're a person that goes with the flow and hope that everything will turn out well. So just remember that a role as a future accountant, we need to make sure that we are very clear and precise on how we are going to help our business stakeholders. So you may find that as a go with the flow kind of character, relationships with your boss and stakeholders might be impacted. So that is it from a personality perspective. I understand we only have 5 more minutes, so I'll do a wrap up very quickly, don't worry. But I do want to emphasize here, just because you are not a certain personality doesn't mean that you cannot explore career in a different area, because at the end of the day, skills are something that you can develop. So I may not be naturally a very detailed person, right? I'm a big picture thinker, but it doesn't mean that I cannot be an auditor. So it's something that if you're very passionate about, pursue that passion, level up the skills that you need so that you can actually able to thrive and do well in the area of your choice. Okay, so in conclusion, for a future accountant, your role is basically bridging AI and humans. So you being the human side is really, really critical. And you also want to make sure that you are giving yourself the best chance possible. Because at the end of the day, this is now a time of opportunity for accountants to really take the center stage in building sustainable organizations for the future. So like I said, regardless of which 5 zones you're interested in, they're all there to serve value and really add value for organizations that would be really, really critical in the future workplace. So that is the end of the presentation. But if you guys want a bit more information, you can feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or on my YouTube. There's more details on skills that you might be able to find helpful for your studies or even in your career down the road. So thank you so much for the sharing. I'm not sure if you're taking any questions right now. Maybe Pak Alan can let me know quickly. If not, I'll maybe say a quick thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Mei Fing Lim, for sharing your wonderful story and tips on the necessary human skills that needed for this younger generation to be a professional accountant. Okay, I do take a look at, especially I was very interested when you're talking like, we're supposed to be work alongside the technology, not competing with technology, because now there are a lot of debates saying that artificial intelligence or machine learning are going to replace accountant, whatnot, right? And when you bring up that point, that was very, very interesting for me, as well as on the top 12 skills that we need to have to be a professional. That was very interesting.
I'll just share a very quick note on the point around IT, AI and humans, because in the past, in my role as head of governance, I used to work with a lot of quants. So they are very specialized data analytics people, but I find that they actually found it very difficult to translate that data to a way that business can understand. So that's where they may be good in technology. Technology can churn the most beautiful reports, but if we are not the bridge, then nobody gets the value. The companies don't get the value. So I think as accountants, it's a really good opportunity for us to be that bridge.
Yes, you are correct. Normally, I use that word is for us to be the translator into a decision-making process, isn't it?
Yes, also a good word, yes.
Right, now I'm pretty sure there are very enthusiastic participants also want to have some question for Ms. Mei Fing Lim right here. But again, hold your questions as we will address the questions later on during the Q&A sessions, all right? And make sure that you guys also participate in the Q&A sessions for the chance to win 3 exquisite tumbler, all right? Now, we also heard that Miss Mei Fing Lim talk about on how she started her professional career with ACCA and how ACCA has helped her along her journey, right? Now, I believe some of the participants here are wondering what is ACCA and how ACCA can help them to be a future ready accountants, right? Now, to answer those questions, we also have invited a very special guest today that can share how ACCA, a professional accounting body, can help the participants of these webinars to be a future ready accountant. Therefore, I would like to invite the head of ACCA Indonesia, Ms. Hani Karunia, to present about ACCA. Ms. Hani Karunia, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ellen. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I hope you can hear me all right. Pak Alan, can you vouch?
Ms. Hani?
Hello, hi. Sorry, the connection today is not really good. But actually, before I start my presentation today, I also would like to share a little bit of my background, also my personal story. I'm also an accountant graduate. I actually take my bachelor from Airlangga University. So I've lived in Surabaya for quite years, like 5 years, I think. And then I started my first career with KPMG Indonesia until I was a senior associate. And then I went to USA to take my MBA in California and also pursue my master in computer information system in California University. So therefore, I actually can really relate how the technology and an accountant combine forces, but also we need to add a lot of our own judgment so that we can give a value add to the business. And look at me, I'm also working in education right now. So although I started as an accountant, I can really tell you that, yes, being an accountant will actually give a great foundation for your analytical mind because in anywhere you go, you will face data and you also have to make some analysis and make your own judgment or business decisions in any kind of a sector or profession. So it is also, I think I'd like to add that there's also a reason why I think my parents want me to pursue the bachelor in Indonesia, because I think they feel like doing business in Indonesia, you need to grasp understanding about the culture and also how Indonesian people, see as a value in terms of business relationship. And therefore, you really need to understand more about the culture, etc. If you go abroad and then, study abroad, you can, but I think I can really, vouch that that's a really value added also for my skills. So without further ado, I'd like to start my presentation today. Becoming future ready accountant with ACCA. As I mentioned before, I started as an accountant, as an auditor, and while I was in the US, then I went career in student recruitment. You can go to the next slide, please, since I think that the control is on your team, Petra. And before this presentation start, I also would like to say thank you to Pak Joshua and the team from Petra University for giving us the opportunity to connect with the students today. I don't see the slides moving yet, so not sure if this is actually a problem on my end. Yeah, all right. You can see here, Yeah, ACCA, it is actually a really global accountant qualification body. Yeah, it has over 219,000 members in 179 countries, and of course the numbers keep growing. And also we have 527,000 students. We have a lot of numbers of offices across the globe in 52 countries, 110 offices, and we also have over 7,500 approved employers, and also we have over 300 approved learning providers, and then we have, of course, a lot of institutions that work with us currently. Yeah. And as you can see also in your slides here, it says that we also have a strategic partnerships. So maybe before I move on to the next slide, I'd like to kind of define or differentiate between what is called members and what is called students. Because sometimes when students just recently take the ACCA programs and they say, oh, I'm ACCA members, not quite right, actually not at all, because students are someone who actually still going in through all the ACCA modules and going through all the learning journey with ACCA exams, while members is actually those who are already finished all the ACCA modules, including the strategic professionals and the ethical modules, and then plus 3 years experience. But afraid not, with ACCA global qualifications, the world already recognize you, means that it is not a stranger to see that, oh, you're from ACCA. I mean, you have your study in ACCA, so it's like having a global standard. If you do actually take the ACCA qualification. As you can see here, we are present in many countries, and even a lot of the employers also become our partners, including like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, you name it. Yeah. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Maybe you can click the slide so that the names will appear. I think, is that Calvin who, yeah. So this is actually everyone who has the ACCA education. As you can see, they are working in various different sectors. So it's not just like a consulting company, like, you do see the KPMG, PwC, but also you see like there is Air Asia founder and CEO, Tanya Fernandez, and someone who Lorena Holloway, who actually work in the oil and gas, and also there's a lot of entrepreneur as well, like Pat Newson, and Indosat. I'm sure there's a telco. Aside of also there is even the home credit. So it has a lot of diversity in terms of industries where you can work. I can tell you also in the past, before I joined ACCA, I also worked for Accenture, which is more like a technology consulting. But yes, they do actually hire a lot of the fresh graduates from accounting major. And what they do is actually to analyze the systems and mapping out the flows of the information systems so that they can give this mapping to more like a programmer, so they can give business solutions to a lot of companies. So there's another interesting way to look at it also, how accountant also playing a role in the technology industry. Yeah, we can move to the next slide. Yeah, here ACCA also have professional insights. We have even an application for that. You can see on the Play Store. You can just type in ACCA Professional Insights, and yeah, you can download that. Basically, it is what our brilliant teams from Professional Insights has dedicated their brilliant minds in a lot of research that they conduct. We have like a business, technology, of course, and then economic, from anything digital as right now. Also, ACCA focus in things more digital or digital transformation. That's something that also shows in our SCCA Digital Hub. And anyone who may be looking for any materials for their assignments, you know, also maybe a thesis, you can definitely look at this as one of your resource. You know, to build more understanding in the certain topics that you like to find. Yeah. Next. Okay, and they also have a great collaboration with Indonesian national bodies. I'm sure you also might heard IAI, Ikatan Akuntan Indonesia, and also IAP, or Institut Akuntan Publik Indonesia. Some of the things that I can highlight is our fast track to SC qualification for IAI CA holders. So anyone who actually already have a CA qualifications from IAI, they get like 9 exemptions from the ACA program and can jump straight away to the SP papers or the strategic professionals modules. Okay, recently we also have IAP ACCA career fairs, and also, you know, we have a joint webinar with the IAP. So pretty much we are pretty much establishing ourselves in Indonesia. Okay, can go to the next slide, please. All right. So this is the collaboration with universities in Indonesia. As you can see, we have quite many established collaborations with a lot of prominent universities in Indonesia. Of course, since we are in Petra, and Petra is, I would say, the only universities that offer double title, and also diploma in accounting and business, and add with the RIP, which is like a thesis. Yeah, can you hear my voice? I hope I'm not like disappear or something.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, added with the RIP, which is like a mini thesis, then one can graduate with a degree, a BSc degree from Oxford Brookes University in applied accounting. So that's quite a, you know, catch for a lot of business to employ the graduates from Petra. No wonder I heard a lot of the graduates, you know, many found success in their job seeking or employment search. And also kind of like to mention, although, you know, you had the study in kind of like a, you know, satellite university or, you know, like distant learning, but in the Oxford Brookes University certificate will not mention any of that. So it's the same like a certificate that when you pursued in UK for the Oxford Brookes bachelor degree for the applied accounting. Yeah, BSc. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, we have numbers of collaboration with employers, as you can see. Here also, some of them are already established in Indonesia in terms of the partnership. Like to mention like the BP, Prudential, and some companies even give like support in terms of financial support, or also maybe you can take leave when you have exams for the ACCA program. So yeah, because of the collaboration with employers, that's also another benefit that we offer in terms of kind of like stand out from the crowd. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, like to show you, we actually don't have any partnership with Miniso, but if you can see here, maybe Kevin can click on the slides. I just like to show you in this job ads, it does shows that they prefer someone who have SCCA certifications, you know, for
Hani, I do apologize. It seems that we have a little bit of technical problems.
Pak Alan, maybe I'll just continue from Bu Hani's presentation.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes,
no worries. Yeah, so as Bu Hani was saying earlier, even though, you know, a lot of companies are really not affiliated with ACCA, the qualification is still a very highly sought after one. And if you are looking for accounting roles, right, accounting, auditing, and so forth, and when you go to the job JDs, right, you will tend to see they prefer ACCA qualified. Right, so as Bu Hani lebih disukai yang telah memiliki sertifikat ACCA.
Yeah.
Are you back?
Thank you, May. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, the connections today, I don't know, it's not really cooperating. So apologize for that. Although I already have 3 Wi-Fi, even modem and also cell phone, but it happens. Also, I live in Jakarta. Okay, we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah, and if you can click on this slide as well, this is also pointing the preference on the ACC qualifications, as you can see here from the Mandala Indonesia. This is if you like, you know, chocolate Toblerone, Cadbury, you know, this is the producer, yeah. And yeah, go ahead to the next slide, please. Yeah, here even Gojek also do prefer the ACCA qualifications. If you see on the bottom, can click on the slide so it shows. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Gojek is actively search for the candidates in our job portal. Pretty much, I think it's coming up in the next slide. We do have our own job portals that shows a lot of the vacancies globally, not just in Indonesia. Yeah, we can go. Yeah, this one. Yeah, the link is jobs.icglobal.com. You can see, yeah, if you were curious, you can, you know, search around and maybe you can log in. And even if you already have your CV and you like to seek maybe some internship, you know, you can go ahead and do that. Although I can tell you that a lot of the businesses prefer those who have the ACC qualifications or at least students of ACCA, yeah, if it is something like an internship, yeah. But yeah, this is a way to show you also about the opportunities or also the connections that we provide for the job market for our graduates. Yeah, go ahead and the next slide, please. Yeah, this is also, I think it's already been elaborated very well by Mei Ping earlier, you know, get the skills that set you up for success, you know. She does mention a lot of the emotional quotients, you know. I think I'm very interested in to see, to also to read about the effective listening and also the communication skills. I think that's something that a lot of the accountants think that maybe if you were just like a bookkeeper, you just focus on doing the bookkeeping. But I think like when I was, you know, started my role in a auditor, you know, eventually you also have to speak with a lot of different stakeholders, right? And stakeholders here, of course, it can also be your firms and also your clients, right? And also your peers. That's something that, essentially that shape you to have the skills that you need to for success. Yeah. I think that's such a great start, and for a lot of the fresh graduates to be able to mold their skill for success. Yeah. Next slide, please, since we only have like 15 minutes. Now, I'd like to also kind of elaborate more in this slide. This is the modules or also the programs of ACCA. You can see we started with the applied knowledge, and there's accounting in business, management accounting, financial accounting. So once you finish that, you will get a diploma in accounting and business. And then move to the next ladder, there will be the applied skills. For the applied skills, your study, there is 6 modules, right? So 3 plus 6, there will be 9 modules that you need to finish to actually advance yourself in advanced diploma in accounting and business. Yeah, that's and like I was saying earlier, for the Petra graduates, you can also get the Oxford Brookes University and Bachelor of Science in Applied Accounting. To do that, once after you finish the applied skills or the advanced diploma, you will take like a mini thesis. It's called the RAP. Now, the RAP is probably like around 3 months. You should be able to finish that as it is a mini thesis. So it's I would say it is less complicated than usually the bachelor thesis that we well, at least my experience. But then again, it does give you a lot of the overview also from all the modules that you have taken in ACCA. As ACCA very big in exams. You can see there is 3 plus 6. Those are the 9 modules to be able to send in for your advanced diploma. Yeah. And then moving to the next step or next stage in the ladder is the strategic professional. Yes, you can see. No, it's still that. It's still in that slide, please. Maybe you can back into the previous slide. Calvin? No, the previous one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, for the strategic professional module. So this is also very
loading, I think.
Yeah, so it's actually total, there will be 4 modules in the strategic professional, yeah. So the essential one, the SBL, call it, or a strategic business leader, and the SBR, or strategic business reporting. Now, then you will choose 2 options, whichever it is that you feel that you'd like to take, but the options are only on those 4 available, which is the advanced financial management, advanced performance management, advanced taxation, and advanced audit assurance. So total is 2. Now, once you actually graduate from the strategy professional, so if you can total, that will be 9 plus 4. That's a 13 module. Then usually, normally we call you as an affiliate. So it's not a member yet because as you might remember that to become a member of ACCA, you also need to add on 3 years of relevant work experience. But worry not, of course, you already marketable in terms of getting the job that you like in the business. Of course, you will become I would say sought after if you are a member of ACCA and entitled to put the ACCA titles after your name. Yeah. So for that, and we also have actually another benefit. If you think that, oh, I'd like to get my master's degree, so what my ACCA qualifications can have on that, or is there any like a pathway, let's say, to get the MSc or sort of like a foreign like a title, which is this comes from the University of London. MSc in Professional Accountancy. Just FYI, I think this program also, if you are familiar with the QS World Ranking, I remember back then when I tried to search the foreign education, usually we search on those world ranking, right? Global ranking and all that. So usually there's a section of whoever it is top in management, accounting, and then also maybe information system. Now for this UOL actually sit in the top 6 in a QS world ranking. So it's pretty high ranking, yeah. So hopefully, you are interested to still push yourself and move forward. And of course, there will be some few more modules for you that you need to take, but can tell you that of course I would say the weight or the load of the programs or the modules will be lesser if you are already taking those 30 modules from the ACCA qualification, compared if you are, for example, just graduates from any bachelor degree. So this is something that you would hopefully that you would consider, or your parents would consider, for you to take the journey. After all, of course, then you can start with Petra, which give you all already the diploma and advanced diploma in accounting and business. And then first after that, of course, when we move forward, then you can even take the Oxford Brookes University for the bachelor degree. I mean, how amazing is that? I mean, in my time, wish I knew this, so I think I would take that for sure, yeah. And added to that, I like to mention, glad that I remember this, actually now thinking about how technology really shaping our world and the businesses, ACCA module.
Buani? So apparently there have been another technical issues. I do apologize for that one. All right. So that being said, we're supposed to go into our third session. Oh, yeah, Buhani here.
Yeah?
Okay, so Buhani, the time is up
Ready?
for now.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much, Buhani
No
Karunia, for sharing about ACCA and how ACCA can help these webinar participants to become a future-ready accountants.
Yeah.
I would like to also ask the participation from the webinar participants to put the microphone on mute at the moment. If you do have any questions, please hold into that one for the moment. We will have a dedicated Q&A sessions at the end of this seminar. Okay. Now, I believe after hearing the story earlier from Miss Mei Fing Lim, right, and also about listening to Miss Hani Karunia on how ACCA can help to prepare you to become a future-ready accountant, right? As I'm aware of that, you guys are high school students nowadays, and you want to prepare yourself for the higher education study in the future. Now, the next question is, what will be your first step that you need to take to prepare all of those things, right? Now, to answer that questions, we have invited our beloved head of program from International Business Accounting of Petra Christian University to share his view from the higher education point of view on how you as the students can take that very first steps. So I would like to invite Dr. Joshua Tarikan to share his presentation. Dr. Joshua Tarikan, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Alan. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, let me share my screen first. Okay, here. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Yeah, good morning. some of our beloved students here from Petra Christian University, whether are you from IBAcc or maybe from a regular accounting program or from other programs, yeah, and also from senior high school students that could be, yeah, this seminar, yeah, part of your international business, accounting competitions sessions, yeah, and also we like to welcome also the participants from outside Petra, yeah. Maybe some of you also the professional accountants, yeah. Feel free, to ask a question later on, yeah. Especially on this, beautiful morning, we have a good speaker, yeah, Bumi and also Buhani. So just a quick sessions, yeah, from me because I don't have much time here, and I would like to add more later during maybe a Q&A sessions, yeah. So this is how the higher education's response in terms of preparing students to become the future ready accountants. So what I would like to share here, what we already did, yeah. So I need to emphasis here or underline what we already did, not what Petra or IBAcc plan to do in the future. So we did this one, since 2013 and until now, yeah. So all of those things that maybe Buhani or Bume already presented, yeah. And for our IBAcc students, you can see the big picture, how we prepare you for the become ready for the future ready accountants, yeah. Okay, so this is IBAcc missions, yeah, which is create international qualified accountants. Why qualified accountants? In Indonesia perspective, even though it's become decreasing and decreasing, yes, but what we have even until now, when we call someone as accountant, yeah, it doesn't mean the one who already have like a ACCA, CPA, or CA. Yeah. So a meaning of qualified accountant should be, someone that has a professional qualifications. It's not only someone who graduate from a university degree, right? But in Indonesia, whenever someone, students then graduate from a university and then get or from the accounting department, so we just call them directly as accountant. And whenever they work in accounting divisions, we call them directly as accountant. Yeah, but in international terminology, that's not really right actually, because we can call someone as accountant, yeah, whenever they has a qualified accountants, right? So this is very important. So in IBAcc, yeah, we not only preparing students to have a degree in Indonesia, we call it sarjana akuntansi or bachelor in accountancy, yeah. But we're preparing the student also to have a qualified accountants or to become a qualified accountants or professional qualifications, right? So if you ask me how Petra responds, so how international business accounting or IBAcc responds, yeah, we did this one since 2013. Yeah, we preparing the students, yeah, to be ready, yeah, in the future, right? So whenever they work in the professional work or professional environment, yeah, they can become ready, yeah. But here, see, it's very interesting. Yeah, if you have a time later, yeah, you can take a look the video from Tony Blair about the future educations. Yeah, I'm sure that if your age is quite similar with me or older than me, you understand who is this guy, the former or Prime Minister, United Kingdom. Yeah, okay, and he has a very interesting video with LSBF, the London School of Business and Finance. Yeah, some of the lecturer also visiting our IBAcc students. Yeah, whenever they do the revision kit ACCA, right? So interesting video about the future education. So it is like a quite old video, but still relevant if you like to see this video today. So he said that qualified, it means the professional qualification here. Yeah, it means that certification. So when we're talking about the qualified accountant, again, yeah, it's not about, just graduate from accounting department or accounting, degree, right? So let's see further. Yeah, how is the situation in Indonesia? I guess this data, yeah, will be very relevant to Buhani also, yeah, to Buhani and to ACC or to other, accounting professional bodies. We can see, or we can understand actually, a big market like in Indonesia. Why? Yeah, because, yeah, in Indonesia, the comparisons, yeah, between the number of accountant and population is very, very, see here, small. It makes that, in order to find, yeah, one accountant, yeah, we need to search from 12,100, yeah, 13, yeah, Indonesian first. So then we can find one accountant, right? Which is different with other countries. See here, even Philippines, yeah. In order to find one accountant, yeah, you need, to meet first like 3,995, yeah, see people here. While in Singapore and Malaysia, it's very low, which is good. But in Indonesia, you see the gap is still really far. Yeah, 12,000. So you can imagine if we, compare with the average in Asian, yeah, it's quite far. Yeah, so this is the perspective that that I told you. Even though, of course, year by year is getting better, yeah, but still far from. We're not talking about the global condition. We're talking about here about Asians conditions, which is if we compare with Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, we still are quite far here. So this is, part of your mission as a young generations, whenever you prepare your future as accountant in university degree or, still maybe now sit as a senior high school students, right? So we are here. Like Buhani told us, yeah. So, how we implement, yeah, the ACCA curriculum in Petra, yeah, like I told you, yeah, what I share here is not something that we plan to do, but what I share here, what we already did since 2013. So we are the first university that apply or implement the ACCA embedded curriculums. Yeah. Okay. So we can see here whenever the students pass the past 3 modules from ACCA, they can get the the degree from ACCA diploma accountant and business, and plus another 6 they can get advanced in diploma, yeah, accountant and business, right? And then you do your thesis, your mini thesis, or Oxford Brookes University call it as RAP, and you can get the Bachelor of Science, yeah, from Oxford Brookes University, which is like what Buhani, sorry, yeah, because I have a colleague also Busani, yeah. Anyway, Buhani said, yeah, okay, there is no a difference in terms of the certificate. It doesn't mean when you get, yeah, the degree, yeah, using the ACCA journey, there will be, stated there, yeah, like an online class or ACCA scheme. No, the certificate is same. So whether you pursue the degree from UK to UK directly, or you pursue the degree through ACC and Petra, right? So in Petra, yeah, we have around 53 credits, yeah, out of 144. So in Indonesia, in order to graduate from Bachelor of Degree, yeah, the student need to complete 144 credits. So you see here, the percentage of ACCA curriculums in Petra, yeah, is quite big, which is 53, or we can say like around 35%. Yeah. So what it means? So when the student come to international business accountings, yeah, while they pursue their bachelor degree, okay, they parallelly, yeah, we have the embedded ACCA curriculum also inside that degree or curriculum. So it doesn't mean the student need to do two or more effort or 2 times effort. It doesn't mean the student do curriculums and after that also do ACCA curriculum. No. So IBAcc students only need to do one effort here. Yeah, it doesn't mean to afford. Yeah, okay, so it's different things. So that's why we call here we call as embedded curriculums. So this is some of our students, yeah, who graduate also, on last October, I guess. Yeah, this is while I attend their, graduation ceremony. Yeah, and with Dr. Kate, yeah, from Oxford Brookes University here, when they get also the degree from OBU or Oxford Brookes University, right? So how our profile of alumni here, if you can see from this slide, yeah, most of our alumni, yeah, working in Big Four, like Buhani told us, which is in PwC, yeah, and KPMG, yeah, Ernst & Young, and also in Philip Morris International, yeah. And then this is the profile, yeah, for the place where our students do or did their internship. Yeah, most of them is the multinational company, right? Is if you can see here. Okay, so this is one of our alumni, yeah, who graduate like 3 years ago, I guess. Yeah, Natalia Ivana. So she has a chance also to work in Philip Morris right now, and then before that, she has a chance also to did the internship, yeah, in Philip Morris, Jakarta and Hong Kong also. Yeah, and I quote, yeah, or cite one of the important, yeah, information from here, yeah, in one of the journal, international journal. A competent professional accountant in business is an invaluable asset to the company. So it means, here the professional accountant also assists, yeah, the company with the corporate strategy formulations. So the roles of accountant here is very important, yeah. And to wrap up my presentation, yeah, sorry, it's quite need to be fast, yeah, otherwise the committee will angry to me, yeah. Here, see, I don't want to say that whenever we're talking about qualified accountant, it is qualified only in hard skill. Learn about accounting skill, no, like whenever you like to do the ACCA modules, you need to do like you need to deal with time management, of course. And some of the professionals module from ACCA, yeah, they ask you or they try to assess your communication skill. Yeah, of course, yeah, whenever you come to Petra, you not learn only ACCA module, which is more beneficial to you. Why? Because when we're talking about the soft skill, actually as a university student, you learn a lot. Yeah, whether you realize it or not. Yeah, like Bume told us. Yeah, whenever we're talking about like a communication skill, right? Actually, it's very simple. You learn about communication skill, start from the university students. So whenever you come to the to Petra or as a university students, yeah, so, simple things, yeah. Your lecturer put something in or send you the email. Okay, some students, yeah, give me a response. Okay, even though that email only about the information, but some student, reply me, thank you, sir, for the information. It's the same things also when I put any information, in our chat group, yeah, in a line group or a WhatsApp group, right? Some students, yeah, reply that one. Thank you, notes, yeah, but some student also ignoring that one. You see, these things actually, a part of a communication skill. Yeah, the same things also. Yeah, when you send, yeah, your assignment to your lecturer, some student will give me a very, a good a message in their body email. So, good morning, sir. Attached is my assignment. Thank you. But some students, yeah, very worse, yeah. There is no title, only attached with the file and without, any message. So this is, first things first, that you will learn whenever you're dealing with, professional skill or your soft skill. So actually, you already start to become a professional Yeah, whenever you come to the university student, like Bume, shared or told us, yeah, how you deal with your lecturer, because whenever you become the, a university student, you don't have a boss yet, but how you, fulfill the deadline and etc. Okay, this is a part of the, professional skill actually. Yeah, the same things also, when some things maybe get wrong, yeah, okay, during your attendance, yeah, list, yeah, you not come to your, your lecturer, yeah, at the end of the day or on the last minute, yeah. So you sometimes, your students, yeah, come to their lecturer or to me as a head of the programs, okay, whenever they, have an issue or problem regarding, the participants of the final exams, because in Indonesia you can only join the final exams if your attendance list, yeah, minimum 75%. Okay, so some students did not come, yeah, earlier, yeah, to the lecturer to ask a permission and etc. So again, this is part of the soft skill or the communication skill, which is actually, yeah, to become a professional accountant, you need to be qualified, whether in hard skill or soft skill. Of course, yes, it is. Whenever we're talking about like ACCA, CPA, or CA, they are more focused on hard skill. But lucky you are, yeah, because when you come to the, university, yeah, many soft skill that you can learn, yeah, including whenever you like join as a committee here in this event. Okay, last but not least, yeah, what I need to emphasize here, like I told to all of you, yeah, some of you, or maybe most of 100 here of the senior high school students, yeah, they join these events because this is part of the international accounting competitions, right? So after this you will have the international accounting competitions, right? So the different or unique things from our international accounting competitions, yeah, for the final stages, which is on Saturday, yeah, we deliver the Harvard Business School case study usually. So again here, why we give this kind of a case study, yeah, to prepare the accountants. So this is part of the, accounting curriculum, how preparing the student not only learn about the journal, not only about debit and credit, not learn only about the accounting skill, but we need to learn also about the human skill, professional skill, communication skill, like Bume told us or share with us. Okay, Pak Alan, I guess that's all. Yeah, what I can share with you, because it is already 11:37. Thank you for listening. Yeah, I give it back to Pak Alan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joshua Tarigan, especially to share your view from higher education responses. So, as shared by Dr. Joshua, International Business Accounting at Petra, in collaboration with ACCA, will be able to prepare you the necessary ammunition, the necessary arsenals to become the future-ready accountant. Right? So, the presentations by Dr. Joshua actually will conclude the last presentation for today's webinar, and I would like to open the discussion for Q&A session. So for all those webinar participants, if you do have questions for our speakers, you can raise your hand on the Zoom chat, right? There is an option, so you can raise your hand so I can navigate the Q&A session. Or if you are rather shy to share your voices, you can type the question in the chat as well.
There is a good Tumblr, exclusive Tumblr, waiting for you, especially if you like to ask a question directly. Yeah.
Yes.
Feel free, please.
All right.
Yes.
So
you need to explore your, your skill, yeah, in terms of communication, presentation, or maybe, asking questions. Feel free.
Okay, so we've got first responses here from Petra Junior. Right, so thank you, Petra Junior, for your responses. So he stated that, in my side, the only thing that makes human could work together and cooperate with machine these days is just because human have greater ability in understanding emotion rather than machine. So how about in the future, about 20 to 30 years ahead, scientists found out a pattern of our neuron system inside our head. They're generating emotion and transform it into data, then apply it to the machine. So basically he's saying, how if somehow machine will have human emotions as well, right? In that particular time, so how do we survive in the facing challenges with the autonomous systems, right, that are superior than us in humankind, right? And who will be the survivor in the era? This sounds like a Terminator kind of scenario. Very interesting, right? So yeah, that's a very futuristic question. Maybe I would like Miss Mei Fing Liu to start addressing that question, maybe.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's a very fair perspective to share, because that's what, AI encouraging us to think a little bit further. But what I would say is this: what can you do in this next 20, 30 years to make sure that, we continue to advance further? What can you do in the next 20, 30 years? Because it's very easy to look very far ahead, but what about now? Because some people, I work with a lot of people, sometimes they tend to complain, oh, in the future, this and that is not going to happen. But I said, but what about now? What can you do now? Because if you sit down right now and just look to 20, 30 years and waiting that the machines will definitely overtake us, then I think life will be quite miserable. So I always believe that for young professionals, it's very important to continue to develop yourself personally or professionally, so that we feel like a sense of ability to add value, however big or small that is.
Yeah. Right. Very interesting point, Ms. Mei Fing Lim. So you are saying that rather than we are wondering about the future on how AI can overtake us, better we take the first step in order for us to be able to add value for ourselves and to the businesses as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, that is very, very interesting point. Maybe Bu Hani would like to add some points, or Dr. Joshua?
Yeah, okay, Pak Joshua. Okay. Are you saying something, Pak Joshua?
Yeah. You can start, Bu Hani.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just echoing what Ms. Mayting has stated earlier. It is inevitable in terms of the AI and then the technology advancement. That's something that you can already see right now with everything being digital. Everything is already transformed in a lot of business to the digital applications. So if you see that already take control in our life, then you also have to understand that again, to be able to have a control of your own life, you are the decision, right? You're the decision maker. So then what you can do to actually it's not the technology controls you, but you control this technology. So for that point, of course, then you need to pretty much equip yourself and then prepare yourself with the necessary skills and also the knowledge that you feel like it's appropriate for doing so. Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's very interesting point. How about Dr. Joshua? You might want to.
Yes, like what we already discussed, or Bu Mei discussed before, during her presentations. Machines or IT with the human is not a competitor. So human create a machines or artificial intelligence because human need that machines to help their job. It is different with God. God create human. It doesn't mean because God cannot do what human can do, right? This is very philosophy. But the difference with human create machine learning or artificial intelligence because human cannot do what that machine learning can do, right? So again, this is something to do with about collaborations, because the one who create artificial intelligence or that machine learning as humans, and then human cannot do what artificial intelligence can do, like a machine learning. And as the example, in order to do the big data analysis, we need a machine learning. So human with their limitation, they cannot do that one. They need a machine. But who create that machines is human, right? So it is need collaborations. But thinking about something very far in the future, like maybe, Terminator movie or something else. Yeah, I guess it is very, very, or very, really far. Yeah, but what we can understand right now, like Bumi or Buhani told us also, yeah, we need to, strengthen, yeah, like our analysis part, our personality part. As an example, as Indonesians, yeah, many of us, yeah, or many of the students, yeah, very convenience with descriptive sentence. Whenever we would like to write some things, yeah, we usually use a very descriptive, as the example, you write an article or essay, and then what you do, you draw a table, and then after that, behind that table, you try to use a narrative, yeah, or sentence in order, to tell the content of that table, but not to analyze that table. So our weakness as Indonesian most of the time in terms of analysis, yeah. So this is part of what we can emphasize or what we can strengthen, yeah. That's why why we need like big data analysis to do more analysis with the very comprehensive data, very comprehensive information, because we have a limitation of that. But what you can do now as a students, yeah, we can learn, yeah, how to strengthen some of our weakness sometimes, like the analysis and etc. Yeah, why some of the a big brand like Accenture also predict that in the future there is no accountant. It doesn't mean there is no accountant. There is no maybe a bookkeeper. Why bookkeeper? Because bookkeeper job only as a descriptive or very technical things. Yeah, maybe it will be replaced with the software, of course. But what we can do as accountant in the future, we can put our analysis part, and then strengthen our prescriptions. Yeah, prescription. Remember here, the prescription is something a skill, something to do with how to help the company in terms of decision making. Yeah, so that's I guess my answer. Yeah, hope it's not too long. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Actually, I like to add a little bit on what you said also. Also, what has been mentioned in the previous slides by Mayvic. One of the things that actually differentiate us is our feelings. Our human capability to understand of other people's feelings and emotions. So in that sense, also don't forget not to disconnect ourselves with the society, with the communities, to build a lot of our social skills as well, so that you understand, maybe how to approach the situation, even in like a negotiation deal, any kind of a business decision needs to have a sound judgment that's also based on our emotional quotient. That's something that I'd like to add.
Okay, right. Thank you very much for the enthusiastic answer as well. And then because we are pressing on time as well, and the committee is already talking to me. Right now, I'll just go into another 2 questions from the participant. The person who asked the question will be the one who will get the tumbler for today's giveaway. All right, now the second question I think is particularly given for Miss Mayfing here. So I took an MBTI personality test before, and it stated that ENFP is not suitable for a financial advisor. So what do you recommend for this particular case, Miss Mayfing?
Thank you, Josephine, for the question. And I think this is a very important question for students, because I actually just got this question 2 weeks ago when I did my YouTube live, also from another student. What I would say is this: never let a personality test tell you what you can or cannot do. A personality test is just an indicator of a preference in your personality. It doesn't mean that you can't do anything else, right? And I think sometimes, like as students, we tend to like to take a lot of these tests, and then we feel like rigid, like kind of confined by it. So I'll give you a rare example, and that's my personal example. In my MBTI, for those of you who don't know, it's basically the Myers-Briggs personality test. I am an INTJ. So what that means is that I'm an introvert and I'm a very big picture thinker. But having said that, I spent 5 years in audit being top performer every single year. And if you guys are interested in the field of audit, you will know that it is very detailed, very precise, and very concise. So how did I manage to still become top performer? It's because I actively worked on the skills that I was not very good at, because I knew that I wanted to be there and I wanted to work with Big 4 or Big 8, Big 10, right? So that's why earlier when I shared with you the skills, that's where you need to identify in yourself what you're not so good at, and then start working on this, so that regardless of, you know, your ENFP, INTJ, whatever it is, we all try to meet in the middle so that we can have strength on both ends. So this is really critical. And for your specific question on whether you can become an accountant because your personality doesn't match the rigid accountant image, but then the question is, what is a rigid accountant image? Because as Pak Joshua said, accountant in the future is not going to be a bookkeeper. Exactly. Right? So there are 5 key career zones that I shared earlier. So all of which are very dynamic, all of which are, you know, with a combination of skills as well. And just my last point, just to give you some comfort on being an ENFP, my ex-boss at Standard Chartered Bank, when I ran the compliance portfolio, was also an ENFP as an executive director at Standard Chartered Bank. Right. What he needed to work on was a bit more structure because he was a bit disorganized. So that was where I was the one to help him with the structure. So we need to make it work, but final point, never let a personality test tell you what you can or cannot do, and listen to yourself. You can take feedback from other people, but always listen to yourself. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Mei Fing Lim, for the answers. Now I have one last questioner, which is Livia Michelle Iskandar, right? You can ask the questions directly if you want to share your voices now. For Livia Michelle.
Hello. Opportunity. I would like to ask Ms. Mayfei. Hi speakers. Would you have any tips for us to work on our art of communication? Because I tend to have a hard time organizing my train of thoughts in a short amount of time. I don't think it's a public speaking problem though, but I often stutter when I get asked spontaneous questions. So would you have any tips on how I could improve on this skill?
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
Sure. I think, thank you so much for the question, Livia. And this is a very common issue if you are an introvert. And especially because we live in Asia, so normally from a society perspective, we want to be respectful. So sometimes we tend to be a bit quiet. So what happens is that we tend to overthink a lot. So for yourself, where you find it a bit difficult, what you can do is just to continue to practice. However, if you're in a presentation and so forth, you may want to just prepare with some quick notes, because it's going to be very difficult for you to immediately, from being, unable to articulate, suddenly you can then become a public speaker. It's not going to be possible. But what you can do is to start taking some notes first. And maybe you can rehearse a couple of what I call holding statements, which is what I normally recommend for my introvert clients. So when they go to meetings, if you're going for a presentation, always read up, prepare beforehand, know what's the topic, know what you need to, and have some ideas first, some thoughts, maybe have some thoughts. You can write it down first. And if someone asks you, then you can share what you have practiced first. But always tell them, okay, this is what I think based on what I heard. However, I may have some other thoughts later on. Can I get back to you later? So always give yourself an open door. And then as you continue to practice, it does become a bit more general, more articulate. It actually comes out a lot easier. So now I'm a speaker, but I can tell you 3 years ago that the first time I did my first public speaking was a training in New York that I was asked to go. At the last minute, we flew over Christmas to New York, and I gave a 10-minute speech and I was shaking. So right now it's very easy for me to articulate because I've been doing it for a lot and I keep practicing it. And I'm okay if something doesn't go well because I know that the next time I will do better. Okay.
Right. So basically you say practice makes perfect, and also prepare an additional open door. So you can think about it and then get back later on. All right. Thank you very much. That will be the end for our Q&A sessions. Again, as the moderator, I would like to thank for all 3 amazing speakers here today that have joined us, Ms. Mei Fing Lim, Ms. Hani Karunia, and as well as Dr. Joshua Tarigan, to share their view regarding these students on how to become a future-ready accountant. All right. So to close this, I would like to say thank you as well for all the webinar participants that are very enthusiastic in joining this webinar and also very enthusiastic in asking the questions and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, to end this up, I would like to say good luck and for Petra Junior, Josephine Stephanie Vidya, and Livia Michelle Iskandar for winning the tumbler. Please give your address to the committee as well, so they can send it to you. All right. Thank you very much. I'll return it back to the Master of Ceremony, Vanessa Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
all.
Yes, thank you very much for all the speakers and moderator. I'm sure that we all learn a lot of things from them and hope it will be beneficial for our studies and profession in the future. And we realized that some of the participants haven't done the pre-test, so we want to remind you to do the pre-test. And then time really flies now, and we are approaching the end of this webinar. As we begin it with a prayer, let us end it with a prayer as well. I will lead this prayer in a Christian way. Let us pray. Dear God in heaven, thank you for all your blessing today so we can enjoy this webinar from the beginning until the end. May you keep blessing us as we go out from this room and enable us to apply what we have learned today in our profession and studies in the future. Make us realize that all of our action and plan should be done for your greater glory. In your name we pray, Amen. Thank you for all the speakers, moderators, and all participants for joining this webinar. And before leaving this room, I would like to remind all of the participants to do the post test. And then I have one more information for all participants of Petra International Business Accounting Competition or PPAC. You may have some break and then you can check into the PPAC website at 12:15 as the question will be available at that time. Thank you very much everyone for your attention. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.